All right, 6:30. Julia, will you call the roll, please?
Certainly. Kara Kasten.
Here.
Ken Dawson.
Here.
Chris Espinoza.
Here.
Jenny Hagstrom.
Here.
Don Runner.
Here.
Rayhan Hashim.
Here.
And Jason Trejo.
Here.
Oh, and Terry Pansich. Thank you. Sorry.
All right, having a quorum, let's stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, Hank, I'll turn it over to you for student perspectives.
All right, and I will turn it over to Lisa.
Good evening, everybody.
Good evening.
My name's Lisa Ballo. I'm the Director of Special Services, and we are here tonight to do our T99 student perspectives. I have several students here with me and staff members sported a little bit of our T99 gear, so we wanted to show that off. And one of our students, Chris, has a D99 hoops on. So tonight we're here to talk a little bit about our hospitality class at Transition 99, and we'll talk a little bit specifically more about that. That's what everybody here is to do, but I just wanted to introduce the folks that we have here tonight. This is Carolina Schoenbeck, our T99 coordinator, Jerry Smolik, one of our teachers, Byron Hodges, one of our students, Giacomori, one of our students, and Chris Cohn, one of our students. And as you can see by the presentation tonight that was created by Jack, all of the slides, and he invited his colleagues who participate in the class with him to get up and share a little bit about the class. So I'll go ahead and turn it over to Carolina.
Thank you. And Byron is rocking his T99 work polo too. We have to show next slide. So just a little bit about Transition 99. I know we presented last year, but we are a building on Bernard Road right behind Mr. Submarine. We have students who are 18 to 21. All of them are young adults with disabilities, so they've completed their 4 years, either down Shore of North or South, or some are returning to their home program from a therapeutic day school. And our focus is really preparing them for life after high school, post-secondary. What will that look like? And a big piece is a vocational piece, trying to get students out in the community and either volunteering or employed if possible. And we have great staff. We have a full-time vocational coordinator and 3 job coaches that support them. But one of our things that we do in-house this year we started is our hospitality class. So we wanted to share a little bit about that and let Jerry share about our class.
Again, I'm Jerry Smolik, and I am the teacher for this class this year, and I'm going to let students really tell you a lot about the class and get their perspective, because that's what it is for. But I wanted to say why we started this class. We have a lot of great community partners, and we have a lot of students that go out in the community ready to job train, but we like to do stuff in-house of how can we prepare them before they get there, especially working in food service and hospitality in a restaurant. There's a lot of different moving pieces and a lot of different jobs, so we created this class so they could explore what are all those different pieces in food service to see if they like it, if they don't like it, if it's something they can do, or we can build those skills so that they are ready as soon as they get into a job training situation. So I'm going to let them explain because they can tell all about the skills that they're working on better than I can. So can we have Jack start us?
Hello, my name is Jackson Omori. What is this class about?
Back a slide. Thank you, Jack.
A hospitality food service class teaches skills needed for jobs in the food industry. For example, cooking, serving, hosting, invitation creation, and more. Next slide. What is a guest lunch? We originally designed the lunches to give administrators a chance to visit our newly renovated building. We then expanded to invite other district helpers from all departments and T99 students in a month. We demonstrated respect, responsibility, and engagement. The guests would receive and invite someone to what you see up there. How do I sign up to attend? I created a form that a guest will fill out, and then based on that information, we'll be expecting the person or not. The info we need from our guest includes full name and job title, an email to keep it updated on date and time, if they're available on a given day, and if they have any allergies or dietary restrictions. And to go along with full name and job title, something very funny happened at our last lunch. We had 3 people who filled out the form whose first name was Ryan. So because of that, we couldn't just say, we had to actually ask them what is, like, instead of saying, we'd have to ask the last name because it's like, oh, hi, I'm Ryan. Well, which Ryan? We got 3 of them. Next one. What does the menu look like? The menu is different for each lunch. However, they do share commonalities, such as drinks. The drinks we have served in the past include but not limited to iced tea, coffee, apple juice, cider, water, and sparkling water. And you can go next slide. What do students learn in this class? Oh yeah, never mind.
Byron's turn.
My name is Byron. In hospitality class, we learn about food running and cooking and hosting. Our food runners bring guests their food and drink. Practicing. Practicing managing manners and serving skills. Now we're on the same page. For cooking, we get to pick the menu and look up recipes. We use thermometers and other tools for health and safety. Now I will turn this over into the hands of my best friend, Chris.
Hi, my name is Chris. Hosting. I'll host and greet guests and bring their seats. Jack makes the main course for all guests. Cleaning, decorating. The set we make decorating for our guests, laundry, hair, dishwashers, and put plates sets for guests. I'll hand it over to Jack.
Students are also working on a food handler certificate. This will help students get a job in the hospitality and food service industry.
That's great.
And then here's the invite for our next guest lunch. As you can see, it will take place on March 5th of this year, and from 12:30 to 1:30 Central Standard Time. And then you will be getting the RSVP form shortly. Well, not today.
Not today, Byron. Not today, Byron. No, not today.
We would like to invite as many board members as we can.
Thank you.
Any final questions for us? Yes.
What's the favorite food item you like to serve for lunch?
Well, it varies from guest lunch to guest lunch. Like, for the last 2, we had ham, but before that, we served burgers, we served mac and cheese. It just depends.
I would want the burger.
Byron likes the burgers.
Yeah.
Yeah, we like burgers. Yeah, we like burgers.
Any other questions?
Who put together the slide presentation?
That was me.
Jack Amoy did.
All right.
So with the facility upgrade, I would imagine that makes this program a lot easier to facilitate, right? Can you speak a little bit about that?
Yeah, so prior to this, we had like one multi-purpose room, if you will, and it had several fridges for all the teachers, and all of our students kind of met in that room. So we really couldn't facilitate having additional people. You saw the pictures, like our nice new space that's very colorful and welcoming, and we have the double set of everything, but actually now we have 2 in the new part of the building and 2 in the old part, so we have 4 stoves to use and lots of fridges. 5 dishwashers, so it's easier to accommodate.
Yeah.
Definitely more welcoming, so we enjoy hosting and having.
And another reason the 2 kitchens are helpful is because, like, say you're making, like, different teams assigning different food items, right? So you can have a team working on one side on one food item, and the other one we're doing like another food item, right? So there's that as well.
And we're still having school go on, so our students are eating in the white kitchen while the blue kitchen is being set up for our luncheons. So we're able to accommodate our daily happenings in addition to the special events. So, and then one of the upcoming lunches that they're going to host is for our community partners who employ our students, or they allow us to volunteer. So we're going to have a little recognition. So that's the first time we'll be doing that in-house, and we're looking forward to that one as well.
Go ahead. No, you go ahead.
Is food service sort of one of the biggest opportunities for jobs?
Yes.
And can you
Yes.
talk a little bit about like who some of the partners are? And
So it's kind of like an entry position, so everyone has to have their first job. So one of our big partners is the Patio, Culver's. They do a really nice job letting us support students. And then we have like more one-offs. I'm trying to think. Food service, Foxtail had us there for a while. Sweet and Savory, we used to be there. Yeah, so whoever wants to post, Trisha Brawley is our vocational coordinator, and she does a lot of connecting with businesses and seeing, but Culver's and the Patio have always been very loyal, and the students stay competitively employed even after they graduate, so.
That's awesome.
Fantastic.
And giving them a chance to do the food handler's license and go over the food safety kind of gives them that jump start. They still have to do it with Culver. Culver's and the Patio have their specific one they have to do, but at least they've seen it right. They can go through it quickly and get the certification and be ready to go as soon as they are ready.
How's the hoops team looking this year?
Good.
Jerry's
Pretty
got
good. I don't know. We got
practice
4 of them that. Let's see if anybody goes on state. This weekend is the regional tournament. So.
Okay. Well, good
We'll
luck.
see what happens.
I gotta try.
Just
Look.
another plug for that, February 3rd is
The pack the
the
place.
Pack the Place. So all 4 teams are playing, and we'll also be recognizing our seniors, so that'll be a really nice event
That's cool.
for the whole community.
Starts at 5:20. That's
So.
That's all.
North last year.
It was at North last year.
Regretfully, we have a board.
All right.
Thank you
Well,
very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Our students are welcome to stay for the remainder of the meeting, but they're also welcome to head out if they'd like. All right. Rehan, Jason, who's up first this month?
All right, I can start off. Okay, sorry, just give me 1 second. All right, so I'm not gonna have a lot for you this week because we just got back last week, but we are starting it off strong with Mustang Way Access. I'm not sure if you guys were familiar with it. It was started about 2 years ago or 1 year ago, and this is my first year on it, but we're coming back stronger than ever. And last week, so on Wednesdays, we go deliver Mustang Way awards to people that have earned Mustang Way awards from their teachers, and the seniors have just been getting more uplifting and more upbeat about it. On a side note, we have heard some drawback and concerns from teachers and students today in the morning about the parking lot being a little bit messy from the snow, not enough salt, stuff like that. Besides that, we had senior superlatives. We've just been working on getting our whole staff involved, as well as staff superlatives, so just working on our community altogether. But yeah, that's going to be about it for this week.
For me, so Happy New Year, everyone, and I hope everyone had a great winter break. Same as him. I'm not going to have a lot for you guys because since we just came back. But as for the students, overall relief to to see that they like passed the first semester and finals weeks, and they're starting fresh in the new semester with their new classes. So the first week went pretty smooth. As for seniors, a big month for many major decisions, so a lot of anxiety about that. It's really apparent in the classrooms. Lots of stress around that. And then on January 9th, we had the Theater Fest. And then another event that's coming up is the DECA sectional event this Friday, the first big competition for the club. So there's a lot of excitement around that because DECA is like the biggest club at our school at the moment. And at the end of the month, we have the ILMEA All-State event where we get to see the best high school musicians. So overall, an exciting month. So yeah, that's it for me.
Very good. Thanks. Julie, on the first reception of visitors, do we have any?
No, sir.
Okay. Item number 5, board workshop, presentation from the District 99 Education Foundation.
Welcome.
Thank you for having us. I'm Julia Beckman. I'm the current president of the foundation board. And I just wanted to, again, thank the District 99 Board of Education for supporting the foundation for a little over 30 years now. And we're very proud that we have donated close to $1 million over the 30 years that we've been in existence. So I just wanted to thank you again for your support. We're happy to be back presenting our checks. And these checks were actually earned a while back, but because of the Christmas holiday and what have you, we are now presenting them to the board and to our people. So I'd like to introduce, as you all know, Donna Dawson, who is our grants chair. And we also have with us Martha Morillas and Pam Califat, who will be helping us present the checks.
Hi everyone, I'm Donna Dawson, and as Julia mentioned, I am the grant chair, and we have the honor this year to present our grants to our Fall 2025 recipients. I like to say that this year, sorry? 24, right. Not yet. So, but I'd like to share with you that we're pretty excited because during the fall, we granted 9 recipients, a total of 10,000 grants. So that was pretty good for us. So this grant, this particular, for the fall, we have a number of folks that we're going to ask to come up to the front of the room, and we're going to present their check. So first we're going to ask Beth Sensor to come up. We're going to ask Stephen Z, and we're going to ask Phil Bocosi to come up. The reason why we're having the 3 of them to come up is because they came up with this. They didn't come up with it, but what they did was they pilot this really cool concept, and you may be familiar with it, called Building Thinking Classrooms. And it's a concept that allows the students to get up, move around the classroom. It helps them with their critical thinking. And what drives it is the fact that they use whiteboards, vertical whiteboards that are placed throughout the room. And the students form into groups, and they, you guys ask questions or what have you, whatever that exercise is, and the students then go up to the whiteboard as groups, and they work on it together. And I have actually had an opportunity to participate in one of the classrooms, and I was peeping on you today. You were right next to me. And it's really a cool concept to watch the students, how they engage with one another. You see who has great leadership skills, and it's just a really great concept. So what we did was we decided to grant them, because their pilot was so successful, that we are awarding each group $2,000 for the science department and $2,000 for the math department to purchase additional vertical boards. So please.
Get to that, take a picture.
We'd just like to say thank you so much for the whiteboards. They're now in my classroom, and I'm very excited about that. We've seen everything, you described it really well. The students have been very engaged in problem solving, moving past just mimicking a step-by-step formulaic process to instead have to think critically, collaboratively as they use their knowledge of the concepts to solve the problems. They've also told us that they feel more comfortable making mistakes now that they're on whiteboards and they can see everybody else's progress and mistakes around them. So we've seen positive social, emotional impacts from the work as well. So thank you for helping us continue.
All right.
Just really quickly, I'd like to take a minute to thank both of these two fabulous teachers for engaging in this type of activity. One of the things that I want to just tell a quick story about a gentleman by the name of Jim Stankovic. So Jim Stankovic taught physics in the state of Illinois for 42 years. Mr. Zanarega was his student teacher many years ago, and I had the privilege of working with Jim for 20 years. And he taught us three things. He taught us to have students make their thinking visible, which is what whiteboards are about. He taught us to never ever make a kid feel bad about asking a question, which is what you'll see if you go in their classroom. And the last thing he taught us was, since we're teaching science, and as you know, math is the purest of all sciences.
Yes.
He taught us to be scientists in our teaching, which means try new things. And so what we're trying now with this generation of students is having them get away from their desks, have them stand up, have them solve problems together, and we can see their thinking. And it is working well in physics. It's working in math. Thanks to these funds, we have 5 16-foot whiteboards in 5 different classrooms that are being used daily now. More kids are standing and solving problems. And this summer, Mr. Zanarega and myself and Mr. Dvorkin at North will be running a workshop, a 3-day workshop at Morton High School in Cicero about building thinking classrooms in physics, chemistry, and math. So we're very grateful for these funds. The boards are getting used. We might have to come back to ask for some more whiteboard money. Yes.
Yes.
And thanks to CMG and Mike Reyes for helping us put them on.
Yeah. Anything else? Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
I do have one more surprise here because unfortunately we didn't have enough of our checks, but we still, because they're here, we do want to go ahead and recognize our Colleen Reagan and Chris Rios. Their project is called You're Not Crazy. Your brain is just braining.
We might be crazy.
So they requested for funding to support a guest speaker to present during the Mental Health Challenge Week. And typically, this program is directed towards the juniors and the seniors, but this school year, they're going to expand it and offer it to freshmen and sophomores as well. It's going to be implemented later on this year, and we awarded them a $1,000 grant. If you would like to add a little bit more to,
Sure.
so they understand the concept.
So I'm in physical education and health, and Chris is in the library. So we do collaborate together on a health project. And so in the time we spend together that I spend in the library with him and his colleagues, there's always like, hey, what do you think about this? You guys want to do this? Could you add this in health? And as you all know, our state requirements are pretty stringent and time is of the essence. And so it's always like, okay, how can we do this? So I believe last year you saw this
Kelly Jensen.
author.
Kelly Jensen, wonderful librarian, author, writer, editor, and she's edited several books, one of which was one of the best of the year for the Washington Post called Don't Call Me Crazy, which is a series of essays to highlight the importance of mental health.
So we were like, okay, well, how can we do it? Just help the financial implication of just having them in the health classroom just didn't make sense, right, financially. So we have done, during PE week, we have wellness day, and we do all sorts of different activities, and our seniors have presentations on testicular and breast cancer, our juniors have it on assaults, rape prevention, those types of things, and our freshmen and sophomores just have like a regular day. And it's always been like, why are the freshmen and sophomores just having a regular day? Like, why can't we come up with something? So this author, this speaker seemed to make sense. We'll end up talking to
I don't know, probably 1,000 to 1,300 kids. I'm not sure how many freshmen and sophomores that we have total. But they'll all get to see her in April, and it's going to be great. So I don't know if you have anything else to add.
Yeah, I mean, thank you for the opportunity.
Absolutely.
She is being really generous with her time. She's going to do all 8 periods. And we were like, are you sure? She's like, do it. She's done it before, so yeah, she's going to go for it.
We may need some more money for like coffee and treats.
We'll figure that out.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I had a question. It was, you're not crazy, your brain is just, I missed the like.
Brainy. Your brain is just brainy.
Okay.
So this, what you saw today were just 3 of the recipients, or 3 of the teams that received, were awarded grants this past school year. At the next board meeting, we will invite another group who will also, will have the honor to present to the group. Okay? Thank you for your time.
Thank you for your ongoing support.
Did you? Sorry.
All right, moving on.
So to continue on with our meeting tonight, we're going to talk about indicators and measures of high-quality PD. So you just saw the importance of our teachers trying new things, right? And so when you think about our core values specifically surrounding we prepare and we evolve, that's what we're focused on when we talk about professional development. What does that look like? How do we help? So when we look at our strategic indicators and different areas. You can see the monitoring team there. These 4 gentlemen are here with us, Omar, Jake, Keith, and Ken, and they're gonna come up here in a second and do the vast majority of this presentation and talk about what we're doing in monitoring our high-quality professional development. And specifically, these areas are looking at what we're looking at monitoring. What it is that we're doing with our professional development. What's the feedback that we're gathering with that? One of my favorite quotes of all times related to professional development is from a gentleman named Roland Barth. And he said this: "I have yet to see a school where the learning curves of the adults were steep upward and those of the students were not. Teachers and students go hand in hand as learners, or they don't go at all." So PD is an extremely important component of what we do. And we're trying to capture in what that looks like. So this again is from our document and different things that I want to highlight here. One, when you look at our goal, is that we're evaluating all of the different opportunities that we're presenting. And this is more, you're going to see this is more than just our certified staff. It's our support staff as well. And we want those to either be rated as of high quality or use that feedback in future offerings so that we can get to that high quality measure, right? So those are the areas that we're looking at. So we're going to talk about how that was constructed. Jake, I'm going to hand it off to Jake next, and he's going to talk about how we constructed this, as well as then you're going to see some different components of where we have gone through and monitored and what we just offered recently here in January as we came back. I'll hand it over to you. Go ahead.
For those who don't remember, I'm Jake Giblin. I'm the Associate Principal for Curriculum Instruction at Downer South. One of the things that as we started this process, we're trying to create the right atmosphere for learning to happen. That's what building thinking classrooms is about. That's what all of this is about. We're learning creatures. We want to learn. So how do we get the right conditions so that people can learn? So some of this came from like feedback we had received personally from previous reflections we'd asked people to give us, others from different things we look for to kind of articulate that learning best. But this is how we are trying to capture those conditions. We want everything to be relevant and specific to each person's role who's receiving this PD. We would like it so that it equips staff to help all students. It's not about helping the kids in just this particular class or this particular section of learning. We want it to be places where people can practice, reflect, and learn, just like in a classroom, where you can make attempts at things and learn from it. And we want it to be not one and done, not checking a box saying we did PD, but we want it to be something that is connected, allows that growth to continue over a long time, and ultimately, a lot of that requires some choice to happen for our professionals. Omar's going to come up and take you through the next.
Good evening, everyone. For those who don't know, I'm Omar Davis. I'm Associate Principal at South. And I also have had the opportunity to work very closely with these gentlemen. This has been a many-year development. One of the challenges one of the opportunities that we've been presented with is creating PD for a diverse group of individuals, right? So our CMG team is one of the most valuable teams in our buildings. In fact, there's very little that we can do without our custodial maintenance and grounds team. And one of the things that we've always kept in mind is their ability to take on in-the-moment challenges, right? So in order to do that, we have to prepare, right? We have to provide them with professional development opportunities so that they can be ready to meet the challenges that come with running a building. With our CMG group, that is a very large, very vast set of skills. So a lot of the PD that is geared to this group has to be compartmentalized. A lot of the dates that you see in front of you will be topic specific to certain job groups. Our maintenance team may have individual sessions built around HVAC. Our custodial team may have sessions built around some of the new cleaning equipment and products. So we had to be very adaptable with this group in order to deliver the PD that we feel is important to them. It increases their retention here in our building, in our district. It increases their want to stay with us as an organization when they're valued and their PD is taken seriously. And they're growing as learners, right? We continue to grow as we work in new jobs and new roles. So I'm going to turn it over to Ken to talk a little bit more about that.
Everybody, I'm Ken Sorensen, VPO at North High School. So these dates that we've outlined for you, that center column there for support staff, you can see how we've broken that out in three kind of categories. But before I talk about those, in a similar way that Omar shared about our CMG staff, our support staff, every year we celebrate our support staff during American Education Week, which is, I think it's the second week of November. So we take a day out of that week and we dedicate recognizing our support staff. It's one of my favorite mornings of the year because we've got a collective group of people that we're celebrating and honoring for the collective work that they do. And every year, when I'm with this group of people in this room, I always have to identify the number of skill sets represented in that room when we think about it. We've got tech staff, nursing staff, paraprofessionals, instructional aid specialists, job coaches, administrative assistants, occupational therapists. When you think of those collective skills that a lot of people don't really realize that we have in our buildings, making sure all the other things that are taking place and being executed to the level that they're executing it really is integral to our success in this district. So our CMG staff, our support staff are incredibly integral to how we operate as a school district in all three of our buildings. So it's really a fun opportunity. We work closely with our support staff association to honor them. We give a really nice breakfast and make sure that any new folks that we have, they're introduced. Any people who are retiring at the end of the year, we recognize them. But just get together and really recognize the role that they have in our schools, which is really remarkable. So the dates in that center column are the dates that we've identified this year to make sure that we provide opportunities for professional development. The Institute days, those are the days, the full days we have all day. We don't have kids in attendance, so we have a really good opportunity all day to plan appropriate PD for all of these different skill sets. The 1:30 dismissal days, those are 4 Fridays, so students are dismissed at 1:30. We've got a couple of hours that we can capture on those days to provide PD. And then our 11:30 dismissal days, those are the 2 days at the end of the semester. So December 20th was right before break at the end of semester 1. And that was a great opportunity for us to reflect on that semester. And then at the end of the year on May 23rd, we'll reflect, but we'll also celebrate, because we just made it through a year and really celebrate all the contributions that they've made. So those are all the ones with check marks, obviously the ones we've already completed. So you can see those, and then the ones we have upcoming. So I'll turn it over to Keith right now to talk about our certified staff.
Sorry, I'm forgetting the word, and he's trying to help me. That's why we work together, right? Building to building. My name's Keith Pales. I'm the API at North. I'm Jake's counterpart, which is he's the other half of my brain. That's why I'm trying to help. So I'll just talk a little bit about the certified staff. We have the Institute days up there, and there are three clusters of those throughout the course of the year, and also building level days that we put on Thursdays and Wednesdays during the lunch periods or the resource periods where we meet with teachers. So these are all the days that are driven from the district or the building level. We also, and this is where I'm losing the word, and Rob is going to help me, for those choice days for teachers, we have a fun word for that though, like the. We're offering some choice like drop-in sessions for teachers as well. Innovation labs. Thank you.
Yes.
See, it takes 3 of us. We're also offering what we're calling innovation labs, which are targeted for really innovative teachers who want to try things and talk about different things and how that's going and really bounce ideas off of. And those are choice sessions for a half a day that teachers can drop in and sign up for, which are awesome as well, because that is really where you're choosing to be there that day around a bunch of people around a topic, and we get some really fantastic discussions on those days. So those are the certified options that we're going to start monitoring and starting to take the baseline data. I'll talk a little bit about the survey. Beep. Thank you, Travis. So we wanted to make our survey tool very simple and quick to fill out, but we did want to get the right information back, so over time we can take a look at that data in relations from when we started and as we move forward, so that we're really reacting to what we're seeing. So it's very simple to fill out, not a lot of questions. As Jake mentioned, it's the relevance, the effectiveness, the collaboration, and the connection are the key components of what we're asking. Those questions repeat themselves, and we also have an open-ended question as well. If anybody wants to share specifically about a breakout session, if it's on an institute day or something else. We're also trying to we use some feedback from our the first time we used this tool to make it even a little bit easier to fill out. So we give a little bit more descriptive directions at the beginning. So the first question just asked you, what session did you go to? Then from there, we can really break down, everything drops into the same spreadsheet, so we can break down that data and see how we're doing apples to apples as we move forward. Beep. So again, just to reiterate, working on that consistent analysis process, the data is going to be informally reviewed as part of our Innovation Steering Committee. There are a number of members of that committee in this room, 4 of us included, of course, that all drive and support professional development and the planning of that professional development throughout the course of the year for all of those groups. So we want to make sure when we get together as a group, if there's an institute day, that we're aligning our times throughout the day. If there's anything big that we need to do as a building or as a district, that we are accounting for that, but also breakout sessions for the smaller groups. But we're going to be taking a look at that data and also planning for upcoming professional development based on the information we have in that committee, in that group. Beep. And finally, Rob's going to talk about this right after I'm done here in 30 seconds. Last year we got some feedback, which actually, to Omar's point, like this has been evolving, and it was from our teachers that wanted to increase in our personalized professional learning. Rob will talk a little bit about how that has been impacted this year. We are, of course, looking at our Institute days. We got some feedback this week, of course, already on our Institute Day, which was held last week. And then I already mentioned the rewording of the feedback form already to make it a little bit easier to use. So we really, also, I think my last point here is that we want to reiterate and reinforce why we're doing things over time, which is one of the reasons we want to keep the survey consistent, right? We want to continue to ask the same questions over time so we can, like I said, apples to apples, but also we want to share why we're doing, we want to make sure we're hitting that consistently as well. We're doing things for a reason, and we want to make sure we get that across, and we're getting the right feedback. So Rob, I'll turn this over to you to talk a little bit about PPL.
Yeah, thanks. I didn't even have to give a beep for that slide, so thank you.
Beep.
Thanks. So Keith talked a little bit about personalized professional learning. We just call it PPL in the district. I just wanted to give you a little background on it. Some of the things that everyone's been talking about was designed with intention. Before I joined District 99, I spent a little time in New Zealand as an academic researcher. And another really well-known global researcher, his name is John Hattie. He does these meta-analyses across thousands and thousands of studies to try to help schools figure out what are some really high-impact influences that you can put in your schools to really drive student achievement. The number one is this thing called collective efficacy. So the short definition is that when teachers exist in an environment where they are learning with each other and that they're learning from each other, they have the confidence and the trust in themselves and in their peers to be able to adapt instruction to any student. And so some characteristics of that is that it needs to be a very social experience for the teachers because, for example, I've got to know what Scott's working on and know that he's deep in the weeds on some professional curiosity, and he needs to know mine. That builds the trust. And then Scott's probably got some really cool ideas for me to help advance my learning, and the same that I could have with him. So when I first joined the district, one of the first things that Hank tasked me with was create a professional learning program that's adaptable to any student's needs, so that way teachers can get in to do the learning that they need to do and do the application that they need to do. So we put together a committee of teachers. Honestly, I was just there to feed them research and guide them. But this PPL thing, it's a great example of it was designed by our teachers, and it still continues to be led by our teachers. And it's one of their most favorite things. So the group that you saw tonight around building and thinking classrooms, that's just one small group who's doing it. There's another group at North High who's doing it. But the experience that you had of learning about what they're doing and how they're adapting it, that's what this program is built on. So it's a year-long program. They choose one topic. They share with us what that topic is. And then there's critical points throughout the year where they're reflecting and they're sharing their learning with each other to build that efficacy that will drive student achievement. So that's the background on it. Our teachers love it, so we built it into our schedule to make sure that they continue to engage in it. And this year we decided to focus their choices onto those three categories that are there, which is building relationships with students, something around instruction, or around student future focus. So what are their plans post-high school? Beep.
One of the parts that I actually just sitting, thinking, listening to Rob and Ken mention a lot of the partnerships that have been formed from the work that we continue to do. You'll see in our next few slides the partnerships that we've created with outside folks and really utilizing our community partners in the work that we're currently doing. Our CMG group, as I mentioned, has a vast set of skills that they draw from. And one of the most important is when they come to work, we want them to work in a safe and efficient work environment. CMG work is, it can be challenging. There are many hidden challenges that our CMG group responds to. It involves equipment, it involves hazardous materials. So we really have to cross-train that group to respond when the situation arises. So we partnered with one of our insurance companies, our insurance groups, and they came in to roll out a training that really, again, it really helped us really empower that group of our CMG team to feel safe, feel comfortable in responding to different situations. There are many questions out there that we may not be able to answer, and we may not be the experts, so it's imperative that we reach out to our community resources that we have available to find the right training for our group. This is one of the things that they requested. They wanted more help with new cleaning materials, new cleaning products. They wanted assistance in learning how to go about their daily duties and feeling safe. So that was one of the things that we highlighted with the insurance group. They came in and did a nice training for that CMG team. I think I'm turning it over to you.
Don't move far.
I'm leaving my phone.
So we thought it'd be a great opportunity, since we listed all of those dates that we've planned for this entire year. We just had one of those dates on January 6th. So that was an in-service day. That was that Monday before students returned on Tuesday. So we thought we'd share some of the examples of professional development that we offered our staff last week. So campus security, I don't know if I mentioned them when I talked about all the different skill sets, but campus security, incredibly important role in our schools, in protecting our kids and keeping our buildings safe. We've got a large cadre of video of cameras in all of our schools, in all 3 of our buildings. And we've relied on those, and we continue to increase the number of those cameras over the years, which is good. But the effectiveness of those cameras is only as good as the software that you can use to manipulate those. So we've had software that we've used for years, and we thought this would be a great year to just take a look at the software we're using and compare that to new technologies that are out there, especially with the advances in AI, and just camera surveillance in general. So this year, we're working with a company who's come in and allowed us the opportunity to put their software, to use their software on about 15 or 16 of our cameras in each of our buildings. And so they came in and trained our security staff on how to use the software. It's, the bells and whistles are incredible and much more advanced than what we currently have. So we're gonna spend the next few weeks, they've been trained, and so they're digging deep into all of the bells and whistles of the software to see if this is something we should pursue in our attempt to make sure all of our surveillance cameras are up to date and really serving the needs of our buildings and protecting us and all that. So that's what they did on that day, or part of that day. As you know, we're going to be implementing a new student information system, Infinite Campus. So we're dedicating a lot of time this year for our administrative assistants in training them as we start to onboard people into that system. So Colleen Daly here at the ASC has been integral in helping train our staff. So she's also learning too. But she's incredibly resourceful and helpful to training our administrative assistants and onboarding them slowly but surely over the course of the year. So they spend time doing that. Our technology team, led by Phil Howard, that's an interesting opportunity for our technology staff, because they really take advantage of those times when kids aren't in school and teachers aren't in the classrooms to get into those classrooms and do repairs and maintenance and all that. So we want to make sure we've got time for them to do that. But Phil this year has dedicated some time to make sure both campuses are working together and learning from each other. So he spent time at the beginning of the year and has spent time last week from a district perspective, bringing all of our tech teams together to collaborate and kind of network with each other, build relationships, and compare how they operate on both sides of town. So that's been really helpful. I'm going to turn it back to Omar, but before I do that, I just want to give him a shout out, because he was integral in partnering with SACID this year, really leveraging SACID for our parapros and our instructional aid specialists and job coaches, and bringing them into our buildings to train our staff, north, south, and T99. So I just wanted to give him a shout out for kind of getting that going with SACID.
Ken is being modest. This is, and I do appreciate his words. This has been again, very long developing, evolving topic, and partnering with him over the years. I think this is my 11th year in District 99. this is always a topic that we consistently worked on together, so I want to give him as much thanks as I possibly can while I accept his appreciation and kind words. So our support staff includes our paraprofessional group, a group we like to call our in-classroom support professionals. And again, their needs are very diverse. Our students that are in our classrooms each day continue to change. They continue to evolve, and we have to equip our adults in the building with first-class tools to be able to answer that call for our students. And our instructional aid specialists, our paraprofessionals, and our job coaches are on the front lines in classrooms with students. So again, partnering with one of our partners, SASIT. I know many of you are familiar with the cooperative SASIT, and specifically, I'm sure she's watching. Darcy Vance is one of the lead administrators with the SASIT program. She has been an important part of developing our paraprofessional and in-classroom support professional training. And I can't thank her enough for the work that she's done guiding us through this process. Our paraprofessionals in classrooms really work in many cases one-on-one with students, and many of them are new to the profession. And so this is their opportunity to make decisions on, is this for me, right? Is this a career that I'm interested in down the road? Many of our entry-level paraprofessionals come to us very, very new. SASIT training gives us the opportunity to arm them, to equip them with the best practices in education as it applies to trauma-informed practices, self-care, hygiene, and also active supervision. Their individual work with students is paramount to assist those teachers that they are shoulder to shoulder with in classroom. So our partnership with SASIT has been very strong, and we're looking forward to continuing to roll out professional development with SASIT and our group of professionals.
All right. Lastly, I want to talk about what certified staff just went through same day, and connected a little bit to what Rob was talking about with PPL and how it is a communal experience. And part of what we did was to try to extend that experience. As Rob mentioned, there are several kind of like critical points that occur throughout the year regarding this. Most of the time this year, they've either been working in a small group or maybe with an instructional coach for this first semester. What we wanted to do was make learning apparent to everybody and evident as to what everyone is doing with this experience this past week and a half or 2 weeks ago. And what we did is designed a setup where there was a session where people worked within interdepartmental, so math, science, English, special services, deans were in different rooms sharing the work that they were doing in their individual groups. And then when they left that, they went and joined their departments to share out what they had learned from across the building. The exciting thing for me, and sometimes I think we have to do a better job of celebrating this, when you listen sometimes to what people are desiring and you create those spaces, you get really great results. And sometimes just getting out of the way is the best way to do stuff. And we created spaces where people could learn what they were wanting to learn and what they're passionate about, which is helping kids, but in ways that are specific to what they're trying to further. And the best part about it was when we got to see each other come back to their departments, we got to be in different spaces, and you could see them celebrating the work that was happening across the building. I was watching people make connections between things that the deans were doing to the work they're doing in their classroom about interacting with students and building relationships and being excited that these things were occurring and had space to happen. I was seeing people in the same department who were in different PPLs realize they were working on similar things and creating time to then bring those bigger groups or smaller groups together to talk about what they had learned individually in one big group. So this part of it, which we're going to repeat again at the end of this semester with the PPLs, is exciting to see, is a real kind of celebration of some of the small steps we've made in just this work, but it's also a celebration of the amazing teachers, certified support staff, CMG who are in the building. They want to learn. They want to be there for kids in whatever their role is. And I think we're starting to move in the right direction of creating those spaces where they can feel confident that that'll happen on a regular basis for them.
Any questions that you have about any of our work? Just to kind of summarize, our main objective this year is to gather a baseline, right? We've been using informal feedback, but we have a tool now that we're gathering feedback. We have over 900 responses to the survey between all the different things that you've seen. One of the challenges is that in order to get credit, there's a ISB form for evaluations that our staff complete. This is a separate form that we're asking them to complete to give us feedback, right? So that's part of the challenge that we can run across, but we're using that feedback. We're looking at what are the best ways that we can sit down and digest all of the feedback that we're receiving, again, to tailor and to make adjustments. And what's going to be really important too is that when we make adjustments, we say, hey, this is as a result of the feedback that we heard. These are the adjustments that we've made to the professionalized and personalized learning many of the times that we're looking at providing to our staff. So any questions you have of any of us related to this work?
I'll add one thing.
Go for it.
We forgot to mention is that administrators spent the day on January 6th facilitating those sessions that Jake talked about. Something that we did different this year is that when the Teacher Institute Day was done, then we had our own learning after that. Yeah. So our research partners, EAB, came in and shared some of their latest research around high-performing schools. Arwen shared with us the next day that she felt like it was great because we all got to do learning then instead of just a day focused on facilitating the learning of others.
Yep. That's a good point.
And I'll remind the board that in last week's communication, there's a link to the video that opened the PPL activity with our staff. So if you didn't get a chance to watch that yet, I'd encourage you to go look at that. It has some of our teacher leaders highlighting their work in PPL, and that'll give you an idea of those types of projects that are going on across the district. All right. Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Yeah, I had one comment and a couple questions. As a community member, I will often hear, gosh darn it, why do we need another Institute Day? Why can't we just get out of school a couple days earlier? Why do we have early dismissals? I wish our community could all be sitting in here and listen to the presentation that was just given. I always say that our number one asset at D99 are our teachers and our staff. And listening to you gentlemen present here tonight about the importance and significance of reinvesting in our personnel just reinforces the importance of that time. And I think that cannot go unnoticed and not stressed enough. So I was super impressed by your presentation tonight. Thank you. It's very evident how serious you take this and how structured your thinking is. And I'm really happy to see that you're really focused on developing new survey tools to gather the feedback. So I'm really happy to see the direction this is headed. I've got two questions. The first is PPL. Does that constitute the entirety of our certified staff PD for the year, or is that only part of their PD?
I can answer it. Keith mentioned it a little bit. Yeah, it's only a part of it. So on the schedule, for example, on our Wednesdays and Thursdays, those PD periods, some of those throughout the year are dedicated to PPL, and some of them are dedicated to PD that the building administrator teams need for their teachers to engage in. So a little bit more of that is building directed. And then there's also opportunities that teachers can choose to sign up for to come here and do their learning. So we have the Orange Frog, the Happiness Advantage stuff. We have the innovation labs that Keith had talked about. We have restorative practices as an option. And then we have some other standard workshops that tend to go on a rotating basis. So PPL is designed to for every teacher to participate, and the other ones are more opt-in models.
And is every teacher involved in some form of PPL?
Every teacher, yeah.
Okay.
Every administrator, yeah.
Great. Ken touched on it a little bit, but as we're moving forward with professional development, I have to imagine that as we move year beyond year, that we're going to see more and more artificial intelligence move into our professional development. Ken mentioned it in the context of security. Are you starting to see any AI creep into PD for our certified staff?
Stay tuned to next month.
Next month. Rob's bringing another cast of experts to the table to talk about
But
AI next month.
there's
Okay.
tools. One of those innovation labs that we run is around AI tools that some are free tools, some are tools that District 99 pays for.
Okay, thank you.
I just want to add that I appreciate the way you highlight a lot of the PD is kind of within the building, but I really appreciate the effort you make to do a lot of cross-district, right? Because I know within these teams, right, it's just a bigger team if you can bring the whole district together. So I'm sure it's more work, but I appreciate the efforts you're making to connect all those folks. Equity across the district is really important to all of us, and appreciate that we're trying to sort of spread the knowledge, spread the relationships. I completely agree. I think we'd all agree that collaboration, socialization is as you've all mentioned, is a sort of huge part of this. And it is always great. I mean, I love the way your team here is obviously cross-district, and it's just great to see how much you do to really kind of bring the whole district together. So I just wanted to point out that I did notice that and appreciate those efforts.
Yeah, Ken mentioned it a few times, is that when you look at every employee, the teacher, depending on the role that the teacher has, our counselors, our support staff, a wide variety on there, designing an institute day that listens to what it is that each person needs and then tries to make the experience relevant across it's like running a conference. So the four of them run multiple conferences throughout the school year, which is incredibly complicated, and they do a great job of it.
It's great.
Does it tie into, do teachers have continuing education requirements that the state makes them fulfill?
Yeah, I mean, the Institute days, they're long enough that we give enough professional development hours to the teachers. So when they participate, we do attendance, and it's all logistical in the background. But it's enough for them to renew their license every 5 years.
I, too, would like to say I am so impressed. The presentation was fantastic. The investment we're making in all of our employees is fantastic. And the end result is in the success of our students. And you guys are hitting it. And you guys are doing a fantastic job. Keep up the great work.
I think I would like to add something as well. Education, for the past 50 years or whatever, has been scrutinized for not making enough innovation compared to other types of industries, right? And I think this is that main innovation that education has always needed, right? Trying to spread knowledge between other teachers and making sure that they're giving each other strategies to better, even for the thinking-based learning type initiative. Me even, for example, throughout my 4 years of high school, me being in those classrooms, the results are different when I'm in those classrooms versus I'm in another classroom that's just a teacher speaking to me, right? I do better in those kind of scenarios. So I think I can speak for a lot of students that, those types of strategies and those types of, different kind of thinking that the teachers have acquired in the past few years is having a real effect on students. So, yeah. I think it's really important what you guys are doing.
I actually just thought of another point from the student perspective. When we did our master facility and our construction, we carved out a section of each library where our instructional coaches are at, and we were very intentional of making sure that we've got transparent windows there, because we wanted the students, when they're in the libraries, to be able to look through that window and see that their teachers are also learners. So that way, it builds this culture of understanding my teacher is a lifelong learner. Learning is never going to end for me also.
That's why I love Roland Barth's comment, right? About the learning curves go both steep upwards.
That's right.
Yeah. It is so important.
Thank you.
Thank you
very
all.
much.
Thank you, gentlemen. You're more than welcome to stay and listen to advertising, but you are good to go if you'd like to.
It's online, right?
It is.
Thank you.
Good night.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
All right, shifting gears to scoreboard advertising. So if you remember, throughout the summer, we've been working on trying to gather. We put together a packet. We went through a lot of different steps, and this is what we've done up to this point, right? So to kind of go through that, we created that. We have a specific web page for this partnership. We have gone through and shared advertising flyers. We've contacted, you can see the various number of vendors that we've contacted to try to garner some advertising. We followed up on any interest that we've received multiple times and tried to garner our first agreement, but here I sit and we have no agreements that are in place. So instead of sitting and continuing to try to do the same thing, I started doing some investigating and talking with some other districts and what does that look like? What are they doing? So the general feedback that I got from the individuals that we contacted was that our advertising packages as we had them set up weren't meeting the needs that they had, either due to the associated cost and or the way that it was structured with the venue, where they had to select either all of the venues or one school, one scoreboard, but there were limited things. So taking that, what are other districts doing? So what I did is I reached out. A lot of times other districts, in every instance, other districts are either using a third party to run this program or something along the lines of their boosters are running the program for them. So really the pinch points that I garnered from them and that we experienced as well, just that following up and being persistent. We're not in the advertising business. Yes. So in going through that, how do we stay on top of that along with everything else that we have on our plates? One, secondly, creating the artwork and managing the advertising, right? So going through, I'd like to think that we did a good job with the information that we got and presenting different things and putting them on and getting them on schedule. And I think it was a great idea at the start where we reached out to our partners, other districts, community partners, and said, hey, we'll throw up those advertisements for you as placeholders so people can see what that looks like. I don't think that was the challenge because I thought that they were well done, they were well received. And then just having that broad enough reach for larger organizations. We have the local connections to organizations that are in our region at this local level that far outreach this area, right? So for example, larger entities, they're not running their advertising out of this local branch. They have a corporate office somewhere, right? And so knowing where that is, who to contact, all of those different things, that is beyond our knowledge or skill set with that. So in looking at that, I started looking at this company called Scoreboard Media. Digital Scoreboards is who we worked with. They're the producers of our scoreboards. They have seen this. Actually, one of the school districts that I talked to were in a different state and talking about how they utilize, and this is, I garnered some of this information from them, but Scoreboard Media, they have a national reach, which is something that we certainly don't have. Really impressed with their outlook in my conversations with them. From the time that they sent the first agreement to me pushing back on several things, that can-do attitude. They are local, so they're vested in what does that look like. They want to see success for us. And also, we have our current software we have is ScoreVision. They're used to that software. That's a big thing. right? So it's not like we have to change our software because our schools are already trained. Remember, our schools are putting in their own material, and then this is running on top of that so that it creates that whole package. A couple other things I want to talk about, 6 different areas related specifically to the agreement, which, by the way, this is everything that I'm talking about, Scoreboard Media has agreed to, as well as our attorneys have reviewed and looked at and said that all the different pieces are, they agree with and where we have this. So Scoreboard Media would have the exclusive rights to sell advertising. They would be the ones that would be going out, securing that, working through, having the contracts, doing all of those different pieces, and that would be played during any athletic events at any of our facilities that have our digital scoreboards. The revenue share is 50-50, so when you look at the net revenue to the district would get 50%. They keep 50% for their fees and associated costs, and we have at any time detailed financial records available to review. Show us what that looks like. We can ask for that monthly. We can ask for that every time that revenue is shared.
Can I ask a question right now?
Yep.
Is that okay?
Go for it.
Exclusive media rights, do we have a say in pricing and placement?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. So they have the exclusive rights in the fact of we can't on top of it go out and sell advertising.
Sell the third parties. They're the only ones who are going to sell.
They're the only ones that can do that. That's what that.
And we will still have content approval as well?
Yes.
Okay.
So the policy that we passed earlier in the year, they have that and they understand that. And so if there's anything questionable, they'll run it by us and we'll go through our regular process.
Thank you.
You're welcome. The term and revenue, the agreement is valid for 5 years and it renews upon mutual written agreement. It's not an automatic annual thing after that. The commitment is for 5, and then we have to revisit that with mutual agreement. One of the areas that we talked about, what happens at the end of that 5 years? What does that look like? So we worked it into having a declining percentage of revenue where they've done the work, if you will, right? So they get 30% in the first year of any of the agreements that are currently in place. At the end of that 5 years, down to 20%, 10%, and then everything after that is strictly ours. Because at the end of 5 years, we might say, you know what, we've got a firm grasp on this. We feel like we can do it, or we may say we want to continue with this, but it gives us an off-ramp, if you will. Just so you know, we started off, they had 50-50-50. So lots of negotiation and conversation surrounding that to get that ramped down. Our responsibilities, we're maintaining the ownership of the equipment, making sure that it's upright and everything is working appropriately. I will say one of the things I forgot to mention with the revenue sharing, if we do any fundraising type of things related to the scoreboards, we get 100% of that. So for example, if we were to sell something for, per se, graduation, right? Hey, if you want to have some recognition at this cost, we would have 100% of that. That's not, they don't deem that as advertising. So we have that in the agreement as well. Additional scoreboard media responsibilities, this is where they would schedule and create all of the artwork, put it all in the system. We're not touching that at all. And this is where, Don, they have, while ensuring compliance with our policies and making sure that anything that's prohibited, that will not be included in those advertising.
So we have the right of first refusal.
Correct. Yep. Couple other things. One, estimated revenue for this in years 1 to 3 between $50,000 to $75,000. That's our revenue. That's after the 50% split, and they project up to $175,000 in future years. So again, looking at that, there'll be some time as they build that up and get creative with some different ways of selling that advertising. So the next steps involved, again, we've gone through, our attorneys have reviewed it, we've gone through the process. I plan on bringing the advertising agreement back to you for approval at our next meeting. And we'll go from there, but I'll entertain any additional questions that you guys may have about this opportunity for us.
So do they feel that what was it, 50 to 75,000 a year is realistic, since we've gone for a year without
No,
any?
we haven't gone a year, we've gone.
Oh, all right,
6
half
months,
a year.
But yes, yes, they do.
Yeah. Okay.
They do. And that's where their
I'm a little skeptical about that. Just.
Sure. That's where their corporate reach is much different than ours, because they already have agreements with other larger entities and that are in this area, and they can say, hey, there's a new opportunity in this region for another advertising. Are you interested, right? So they have those connections and those avenues.
Are they going to work with maybe local type, like Joe's Plumbing or, something like that?
Yes.
And give them maybe a little bit better deal than what we are?
Yep.
And then that would encourage them to advertise?
Yep. So they'll have that flexibility with determining what that package looks like, and they understand. I express some of those pain
And then we look at it and
points.
say, yay, you know what, that works for us, or it doesn't work for us. Okay. All right.
Oh, I just want to add, I think it's a great idea to outsource it. Selling advertisement is not y'all's day job, so.
Right.
You're putting it in the hands of professionals to take care of that. So I don't feel like, because if they know what they're doing, the 50 to 75K is out of reach. I do have a question about the 5-year agreement. Is there any kind of out clause? Not to say anything's gonna go wrong, but if there's some controversial going on with that company, or it's just not working out, do we know that?
There are some out clauses if there's some.
Okay. But yeah, I think it's a good idea to pursue it this way.
I think it's great that we're moving so rapidly and proactively in this direction, because we gave it a good, honest try to the best of our efforts for 6 months or 1 semester, and if it's not moving, doing this, we can hopefully capture some revenue in the second half of the year versus nothing. So I commend you for moving so quickly with this option.
Yeah, we figured, we started with us kind of swinging big. We reached out to some national companies that, we thought, we know have done business with us in the past and locally, and followed the model that was recommended to us from the scoreboard company to begin with. A couple of those, if they would have hit, would have been big wins for us, right? And, but Travis and I cold calling national companies, who know, but until we tried, we didn't know. But Travis,
not
to his
sick.
credit, was like, all right, we've tried this enough, and we're not getting the results, so let's try Plan B.
So I have 2 questions. So is it really just splitting what comes in? Am I missing, are there any other kind of outlays of cost? So that's it, okay. And then my second question was just, I went to Mosaic at the end of the year. I'm always so impressed by like the light show, the digital, and I know students now that have gone on for graduation and have majored in theater tech and stuff like that. So like, I guess my long way of getting to my question is, I think you said like this vendor would take care of all the graphics and everything that goes up on the scoreboard. Do we have the chance, if student interest and ability to teach those classes around digital, making videos and what, like?
Yes.
This is only one portion of what we show on the scoreboards, though.
Right.
This is just the advertising.
Okay,
There's a
so there's
whole bunch of
still
the
plenty of
experience
opportunity
that-
for
yeah,
educational.
We still have, so it's not, we're not hands-off with our scoreboards.
Okay.
We would be hands-off with the advertisements that go up on
Okay,
there.
got it.
All of the other stuff, those hype videos, all of that, that's created by us.
Students being able to get
by our
practice in
students.
high
We-
school.
Yes.
Okay.
And we certainly want to get to that, because there's more that we can do to create that interactive experience in our games. So we do want to provide those opportunities for our students to gain those skills.
Okay.
I guess thinking about the foundation, if they decide to have Pizza Wars again, and they want to advertise on the scoreboards, are they going to have to go through this company in order to do that?
So that's
It's a
something that we can.
fundraiser type thing, so we'd probably just decide if we're running that or not.
That would be,
That'd
okay.
be under
I-
the bucket of fundraiser that Travis said.
All right, I'm just clarifying because, even our partner districts, 58 does some things and they might want to advertise on ours.
So the way that it's set up, if we can't sell advertising, we can still use our boards, right?
So we could move it into,
The fundraising category.
Fundraising category.
yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, okay, I'm just making sure.
I think it was inevitable that this is how it was going to happen. None of us are
Well,
experts.
thanks for your vote of confidence in our advertising background.
I said when we did this that I was skeptical. So I just figured that this is where we would end up. And I don't want Travis and Hank spending their time calling companies trying to get our scoreboards. I want them focused on academics. Did you, is this not a contract that requires like a RFP process? It does not, okay. And is this company the only company you reached out to, or were there other companies that you spoke to get a competitive bid?
There's one other company that I'm aware of that does something like this, but they also use their software. So this was what I thought was the best with where we're currently at. With the software that we have and the way that they have the model is set up. So yes, I did look at another company.
Did you talk to any references about other school districts that are using this company?
Yes. So they don't have anything in this local area. There's a competition clause because this company also does billboards. So their reach is bigger, but they got an exception to be able to do business in this area for it. So there's no local, but as I said, I did reach out to that another district that does utilize and garnered some positive feedback.
I would think you said you started at 50%, you got down to less than that. There's no additional cost, is what I think. That Kara asked, which I was thinking the same thing, so I don't even know if there could be other companies that would do it this way, but I don't see a loss for us. The only thing, like I say, that comes top to mind for me, and I'm not an attorney, but is if we didn't want to do 5 years, and you're saying there are some out there as well, so.
So they're in charge of creating the graphics for each of the advertising spaces. When they come up with I don't know if you know this yet, but when they come up with the advertisement itself, are they accessing the board like virtually and then doing it themselves, so it doesn't run through us at all? Gotcha.
So they actually, yes, they place it into, so right now there's a district level for the advertisements, and I have the username and password for that, and I place those on the boards. And the way that it's set up is that percentage of the board runs off of that, and then a percentage runs from what the schools put in. They would take over that entire aspect, right? So they get the advertisements, they're doing the creation, they're putting it on, they're doing the scheduling, and then it will automatically sync with what our schools are putting in.
But you have the right to see it first.
Correct. And if there's any question, and that's in our contract as well, and we've shared with them our policy, if there's any question as they're reviewing it, they say, hey, what about this one, type of a thing.
Okay.
Will potential companies who want to advertise with us, are they still going to be going through our website, or will they now be directed to the third party?
Our website will direct them to the scoreboard media.
And so you're presenting this at the next meeting for approval. If we do vote on approving this contract, how quickly will the pricing structure change?
They know that we're having this conversation and they're prepping for that. I can't tell you definitively that it'll be the next day, but they know it's to their benefit as well to get going. But I don't have a definitive.
Okay, good enough. Thank you.
All right, this, as Travis said, will come to the next board meeting for approval. Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, this is me.
This is you, but there's, we move into the resolution. But go ahead.
So I wanted to give one more chance. Part of our submission to ISB for this work is to include a resolution that you guys have seen. I did the presentation last meeting on the state of the conditions of our paving and at both schools. So we need a resolution to include in that says, yes, you agree that this is, it's not a good situation. Safety is a concern. So that is, just want to give an opportunity if you have any questions about any of the work related to paving, either at North or at South.
Hearing none, can I get a motion from the Board of Education to adopt the resolution determining the need for repairs to school sidewalks, parking lots, or school bus turnarounds?
Second.
Cheryl moves and Ken seconds.
Thank you. Cheryl Fuller.
Aye.
Ken Dawson.
Aye.
Chris Espinoza.
Aye.
Jenny Hagstrom.
Aye.
Terry Pavasich.
Aye.
Kara Caston.
Aye.
And Don Renner.
Aye.
Thank you.
Motion carries. Item number 7, Julie, do we have any visitors in the second reception of visitors?
I would like to invite forward Bobby Tizato.
Hello, everyone.
Hello.
See you again. I'm presenting here. I do have it in a PDF form. I don't have it for everyone, so maybe if you could keep it.
If you give us a copy here to
Thank you.
Julie,
Make
we'll
sure
get it out to
Julie
all the
gets a
board.
copy.
Thank you.
We can all share.
Yep.
All right.
If you give Julie a copy,
Thank
we'll
you.
digitize it and send it to the board.
Yeah, I have a PD, I have it in PDF.
Oh, that'd be great. If you send it to me, I'll get it to the board. That's fine.
This is my language, I forget.
Thank you. What you have here is a literacy improvement plan. I feel that it was no coincidence last month that I was here. The student leader meant, and this has 3 points. The first is cell phones to be enforced in the classroom, because last time the student leader mentioned he advocated a cell phone off day, because currently the students have the cell phones in their pocket during class. I have a senior and a freshman. One of my students in class was trying to learn, and another student started recording him. And he said, "Can you stop recording me? Can you start paying attention?" By the time the other student turned off her cell phone, he had missed the lesson. So literacy will improve if students put their cell phone in the cell phone box. The cell phone is distracting them all day. Literacy at DGS, which is in here, is at 36%. State average is 39%. I looked at 15 other schools in DuPage County, all had a higher literacy rate than DGS in the 40s, 50s, 70%. DGS had the highest truancy percent. Last year, a third of students did not attend school at DGS. This year, a fourth of students do not attend school at DGS. I asked my kids' friends, why don't you go to school? They say the subject matter is so uncomfortable, we don't go to class. The second point, which will improve literacy, is to remove teaching material that has the F and the MF word. I know everyone here can't see what I have here, but students receive books, all books that have the F and the MF word, fuck and motherfucker, should be removed. Here's a book with 137 pages. Each page has the F and the MF word. This page right here has the F and the MF word 3 times. This page has the F word 3 times, my ASS and ASS whole. This other page has mother effer and F word. This page has son of a bee. This page has God, I'm effing, and then another effing, and effing. And then there's another page here that says F you and mother effer. Students are very uncomfortable with this type of language. This is not learning material for students. It also says, drink some more wine. Alcohol is not good to be promoted to students either. If you keep turning through the pages, my child received a book with nudity of naked women. This
Thank
is
you.
not
Your time has expired.
educational
I will
material.
make sure that I forward your information on to the board. Thank you.
Thank you. Please, if everyone can have my email, I would like your personal thoughts and comments. I look forward to improving literacy at DGS. Thank you all very much.
Thank you.
That was our only comments left.
Okay. All right, item 8, we'll be going to closed session. Can I get a motion from the Board of Education for A, the appointment, employment, compensation, discipline, performance, or dismissal of specific employees, specific individuals who serve as independent contractors in a park, recreational, or educational setting, or specific volunteers of the district or legal counsel for the district, including hearing testimony on a complaint lodged against an employee, a specific individual who serves as an independent contractor in a park, recreational, or educational setting, or a volunteer of the district or against legal counsel for the district to determine its validity, and B, collective negotiating matters between the district and its employees or their representatives, or deliberations concerning salary schedules for one or more classes of employees.
So moved.
Second.
Terry moves in 10 seconds.
Terry Pavasich.
Aye.
Ken Dawson.
Aye.
Christopher Espinoza.
Aye.
Sherelle Fuller.
Aye.
Jenny Hagstrom.
Aye.
Kara Caston.
Aye.
And Don Renner.
Aye, motion carries. And for the public, we will be going into closed session. When we come back out, the only action the board will be taking when it comes out will be to adjourn. Let's take a brief moment and then we'll get into closed session. Thank you.